Good afternoon, Anaheim Elementary School District. I'm here with making music here at AESD at home, and we will be running a live streaming show for you today. Thank you to our helpers behind the scene, Mr. Brian Brooks, helping make all this happen, producing this for us, and bringing us in here to the studio. So, what is making music? Making music is going to be about music lessons and making instruments out of items that you might have at home. We're also going to feature AESD music teachers to come in and to demonstrate some lessons for you and some really special, fun, exciting events happening here at AESD. So thank you for joining us on the YouTube page. Tell your friends about all the great things happening on the AESD page. From making games to simple art at home with Mrs. Houston. There's some really great content on here, so we're so excited for you to join us today. So today, I thought would be a great day to introduce you to an instrument that was once considered a toy and actually was a precursor to the electric guitar. And that instrument is called the Diddley Bo. Diddley Bo. It's kind of a funny name, and it kind of does what the word or the name sounds like. You kind of diddle on it and play with it, and it's really looks kind of like a violin bow, but really the sound that you make out of it sounds more like a guitar. So the Diddley Bow is typically a homemade instrument made out of a wooden board and a single wire string. So like a guitar, it uses strings, but only one. I suppose you could add more strings, and we'll get into that because there's a lot of different things you can add on to this instrument to make it very unique. So a single string stretched between two screws and played while plucking and varying the pitch with a metal or glass slide held in your other hand. It's kind of like the slide guitar in some ways, or the pedal steel or lap guitar that was made popular in the 50s and 60s, but this was even before then. So the glass bottle is used as a bridge, which helps amplify the sound. And the Diddley Bow is traditionally considered an entry-level instrument, and a lot of times children, kind of made them on their own and played them before they graduated to a normal guitar. However, currently the Diddley Bow is also played by professional players as a solo instrument as well as an accompaniment instrument. And you'll hear the sound. It kind of sounds, could be a lead instrument, could be more of a percussive instrument. So the Diddley Bow has a famous musician attached to it, and they actually turned it around, and he was known as Bo Diddley. You can see his guitar here. One thing that made him really popular is that he built these rectangular shaped guitars, and it was very similar to a Diddley Bow, but it was all made out of handcrafted materials. And you can see his unique patterns and little items that he built. He has some really beautiful instruments. So Bo Diddley was born on December 30th of 1928, and he passed away June 2nd in 2008. Ellis McDaniel is his real name, but musicians also know him as Bo Diddley. He was an American singer, guitarist, songwriter, and producer who played a key role in the transition from blues to rock and roll. He influenced a ton of artists, and many artists that you are familiar with, including Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Animals, and even some punk bands like The Clash. He started playing Diddley Bow as a child before transitioning to electric guitars, and like I said, many times were built out of household items. So it's significant to blues and rock and roll because many early blues guitarists got their start playing it as children. And really, it was kind of like the thing to do. Like kids just had this stuff laying around, and they would build things and play with them and sing songs. So it's kind of like a slide guitar in the fact that it's played with a slide, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But it was kind of considered a children's instrument, so few musicians continued to play it once they either could afford a guitar or got a guitar. So there's not a lot of recordings that you can hear of actual one-string diddley bows. But now, thanks to YouTube, there are tons of videos of people making homemade instruments, and that's what we're going to do today. And like I said, it's a precursor to the electric guitar, and you'll see a video showing how we can electrify the instrument and make some really cool sounds too. So today, we're going to talk about the materials and some tools that you need. And the first thing that you need, which is going to be the basis of your instrument, is a wood board. And you know, this is just a scrap of wood that I had laying around. Doesn't have to be anything special. You need some nails or screws. And I actually had some washers, so I picked up some washers. This is going to help attach our string. We need a soup can or a vegetable can. And this will be like our resonator box. This is what's going to project the sound and allow us to hear the string vibrate. And a soup can of any size works. This is a big, you know, family style size of chicken noodle soup. Or you could even use something like a tea box. This is a metal tea box. You can hear that it actually rings and makes a sound. That'll make a good resonator. You also need some string or wire. So I have some old guitar strings that were taken off a guitar. I think one of them was broken, so I just pulled it off and saved it. You can also use fishing string or nylon string. It just won't be quite as loud as a metal string, or sometimes they used to use piano wire, because piano wire is really, really thick and heavy duty. You also need a small glass jar. This is going to be your slide. This is what we're going to change the sound with. Or you could use this is like a vitamin dropper bottle, and it's a little glass bottle. This actually has paper on the side of it, and we might need to peel that paper off so we can put the glass right on the string, and it'll make a big difference of the sound. Before we start putting all this stuff together, it is very important that you talk to your parents about doing this and ask for your parents' permission, because we don't want you taking items that you aren't supposed to. So please make sure your parents approve of putting these together, and get your parents to help do this, because you will need to use some tools like a hammer, maybe a screwdriver, or an electric drill. Okay, so we're going to try to do this a couple different ways to make it easy as possible, so you can use many different items around the house to make this project work. So let's go. Let's do it. So step one, we're going to prepare the board. And we're going to start with this board here because it looks like what's in the picture. And we're going to hammer, actually we're going to screw in a screw on each end. And that's what's going to anchor our string. Okay, step two, we're going to secure the wire to each end. And then we're just going to make that string nice and tight around each wire. And then we're going to place the can on the board underneath the string. And then we should start to be able to get some sound. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take a screw. I'm actually going to use a little washer to place over the string. And I'm just going to do this with a regular screwdriver. And again, you probably want to do this on a nice flat surface, not on your leg like this, but we're going to make it work. Actually, might have to stand up to do this. There it goes. Okay, so I'm going to get that started, and then I can carefully use my drill, put it down into the wood. And I'm going to let it be up just a little bit so there's a little space so I can put the string underneath. I'm going to do the other side. And these aren't any special screws. They were just laying around in a box of extra that I had. Your parents might have an extra box of screws from projects left over. So we've got the screws there. So now we're going to take our string, and I should have checked this before. You want to make sure that your string is longer than the board that you're working with. because if the string isn't long enough, then you need to shorten the board or something. So we'll check that. So I got 2 guitar strings here. So let's see. Yep, it's a little bit longer, so that should be okay. So we'll make it work. So I'm going to take one end, I'm going to wrap it around 2 times. Actually, go this side. This might be the tricky part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to twist the loop. The thicker the guitar string is, the probably the more challenging it'll be to get underneath the screw. Yeah, that's going to be. So should we kind of reset here? It's always important to make sure that you have your parents' permission when working with tools. Okay, so that's nice and tight there on one end. It's kind of wrapped around. And I'm going to stretch it to the other side and do the same thing. And really, I'm going to try to make it as tight as I can. It's okay. So I'm going to take it here and wrap around a couple times underneath. And now I actually have some, I can pull a little bit tighter here. Okay. Take my screwdriver. Okay. Oh, you can actually start to hear it already, make a sound. Kind of sounds like a little bass note, a little slappy. So we're going to try to put the can in between the string and the board. And I don't want to break my board. So I might need to loosen one of the strings so I can make sure the can gets in there. Actually, it'll just fit. Okay, cool. So now once the can is in there, I'm going to push it down to one side. Oh, and I see that my string is starting to come loose. So again, we're just kind of testing this out. We're going to tighten that guy back down. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. So I had a previously drilled hole there, and I'm going to have to just redo that. Try again. That one is pretty good. Look at that. There we go. Starting to go here. Actually gonna do this real quick and stand up so I can work here. Make sure that this is straight. There we go. It's tilting on me still. All right. So trial and error. I'm going to see if we can make it work here. That one's still turning on me. I don't like that. Maybe I got too much in there. Okay. So I think I wrapped the string around too many times, and then it didn't want to tighten. There we go. Now it's all the way flat here. Good. We're going to try to take that soup can again. It's pretty tight. So I have to loosen it up just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Now we're going to tighten it back down. Should be okay. There we go. Now you can kind of see that it's squashing the can just a little bit, and that's okay. The ends are holding tight. That looks good. The next step, step 3, says that you can start plucking the string and hear what it sounds like. You hear that kind of coming out there. And then you can kind of adjust the placement of the can. You can push it forward or farther down to kind of get the sound. I'm going to leave it right there because I think it's going to work for us. Step 4, they want you to mount the can. You're going to put another screw in so the can doesn't move. You can see that little screw there kind of blocking the can from moving. So I can take another screw here. And you might need to remove the string and to move the can, but we're going to try to see if we don't have to do that because that was a little challenging. Okay, got it. Great. So we got our little blocker in there now, so it's blocking the edge, so it won't move anywhere. Okay, so now we can basically take a pick, a guitar pick, and you can play it by holding it on your lap. Might move the microphone just a little bit, kind of get the sound. And then you're going to take your glass bottle, and you're going to put the glass bottle on the string, and kind of hear what it sounds like. So that's how you can kind of change pitch. And it's kind of tricky because you can kind of feel this moving around. So that's with a tin can and just a board and 2 strings. So that's the very basic setup of the Diddley Bo. So you might not have a board that skinny. You might have something else sitting around the house. You might have a board like this. That's okay too. We can take a screw. We'll put it down. We'll try another string here. Put it down on the end. Again, we're going to stand up here. Pull this mic up. All right. Here we go. Take another one, put it on the other side. So this is going to be fun because we're just going to kind of experiment with making all sorts of different instruments or sound projects out of things you have around the house. So that's what it's going to be about. Let's see. Flip the other way. Tricky part in doing this is making sure that is attaching the screws or the string to the board. That's the trickiest part so far. So you might need your parents' help for that, for sure. All right. Oh, it didn't work. I'm going to need a washer. A washer kind of gives a little more surface area to holding that string down, kind of pinches it a little better. So we'll try that. All right, so it's there. Should have checked to see if it was long enough to go across the board. It is. All right, so I need another screw. I wonder what this one's going to sound like because it's a bigger board. we're going to use a soup can, that family style soup can. Actually, I can see how much string I need for that one, so I don't go too crazy here. Okay. Good. Get the screw back in there. And then I'm going to wrap. Okay, pull it tight. Clamp it down. There we go. See if we can get that can in there now. All right, big old soup can. Ooh, made that one flat. I don't know if I can get that all the way in there. I might have to loosen it up just a little bit. There we go. Good. I'm going to push it over to the side, kind of roll it. All right, so it's basically there. Let me add another screw so it doesn't go anywhere. Start playing on it. I'm actually going to add 2 screws here. Oops. And so I prefer using screws and screwdrivers because if you're using a hammer and nails, you can see how tricky that might be to get in there and put it in the right place. So, and even with a screwdriver, it's tricky. There we go. So it's just to hold it in place, keep it from going anywhere. So you can see now that that might actually look a little more like Bo Diddley's guitar. And he added, you know, a neck for the rest of the guitar. We can use our can again. And a bottle here. Oh, that's a higher sound. Use this to make sound effects for movies, or if you were making, you know, a play and you needed a sound effect for something. This could be a cool instrument. Oh, there's string on this side too. That makes a different sound. Yeah, you could just start getting into, you know, jamming on these and making some pretty cool things. There's some other ways to modify the sound of this bottle. Oh, right away, you can hear the difference. This is the glass bottle. Really bright. This one is a glass bottle with paper. It's more muted. Sound doesn't ring as much. Yeah, so you probably really want a glass bottle for your slide. You could use a screwdriver. Oh, that kind of makes too much scratchy noise. I don't like that one. So you need a smooth object, maybe a nail. Nah, nail doesn't. I don't like that. So really, I think a glass bottle. Or if you have a pepper shaker, a glass pepper shaker that you get at the store, or a spice jar, that works really well. So pretty fun to mess around with. I just like making sounds. So that's using a big board, you know, in a soup can. And of course, you can get a little more complex if you wanted to add a guitar tuner to to your diddley bow, then you could actually change and control the tension of the string, and then that would make a big difference in how you tune the instrument if it was in a certain key that you wanted to sing in, or if a band that you're playing in is saying, hey, we're playing this song in the key of C or the key of G, then you could tune your instrument to make that key, and then you could play the diddley bow with anybody for that song. So I think you get a guitar tuner from Amazon or at the music store. They have repair parts. And if you happen to have a broken guitar, which I had one laying around, I just took parts off of that to use and repurpose for this project. So you can find those on the internet. Maybe some of you have those. So the last one that I made with a guitar tuner, and it's already kind of set up, is when I first started the projects, I didn't have a board, I just had a skateboard laying around. So this is an old skateboard with a transformer on it. And so what I did was I drilled just a hole to put the guitar tuner in it, and I drilled a hole to put the guitar string through it. And then let's see what it sounds like with the T10. So the T10, I said, sounds a little bit different than the cans, and it's all metal. It's painted, but it doesn't have that paper on it. So an advantage of using the tuner is that when you put that little tuner on there, you can actually change the tension of the string just by turning the tuner. And so that allows you to, a little bit easier to make changes. So we're going to set that on there. All right, so I'm going to pull that all the way down to the end again. Oh, wow. Listen how long that one goes for. So that sound, still going. That's resonance. That's the vibration of the string, the box, the skateboard. That's a really nice thing to have when you're building a guitar or an instrument. You want it to have that natural resonance to make that sound. So if I tune the guitar tuner just a little bit, you can hear it change. I want it right there. That's cool. So then I can use my spice bottle again. Kind of sounds like a Western sound, kind of. So they're really fun. Once you get it kind of set up, they're fun to play. They're kind of hard to put down because they make some really cool noises. So make sure if you build a diddley bow with your parents, make sure that you, one, ask for permission, ask for help with tools, and make sure that they can help and assist you with the tricky things like attaching the string. So we have a couple other things we're going to do with the diddley bow, but we wanted to think, if this is a precursor to the electric guitar, what are some things that it might have in common with another instrument like the ukulele? Can you see some similarities between the diddley bow and the ukulele? So basically, they both have strings that attach at both ends. Both have a box or an open hole in the body. So the diddley bow's body is the soup can here, or it's actually green beans. So that's actually the body, and you have the body of the ukulele to help make the sound resonate. And then to change pitch on the ukulele, you're just adding your fingers on the fretboard to change sounds. I wonder what would happen if you put a glass bottle on there. There's that Hawaiian guitar sound. Put that on your lap now and play it. Just be very gentle if you're using a slide on any real instrument on your ukulele. Just be very careful. So just experimenting with all sorts of different cool things. So it's fun to play with the instrument just by itself, but sometimes you need like a beat or something to go along with it. So I'm going to show you another tool that you can use. If you decide to build a Diddley Bo or an instrument, would you please share it with us? You can email a picture or a video of you and your Diddley Bo or you playing the Diddley Bo, and we'll share it out on the next live stream for others to see your creations. We know you're really creative, and we know you're great at building things, and we'd really like to see what you guys come up with. You know, my instruments so far look pretty plain, and I imagine you guys could come up with some really great designs and decorations to make these really look cool. So if you choose to do this project with your parents, please share with us. Send us a video or a picture. My email is there on the screen, manderson@aesd.org, and we'd be happy to share those out on our next live stream. So we're going to look at now that we did something, you know, with our hands, we built something, we're going to do something that you all can access via your Chromebook, and that is a drum sequencer or a drum machine. And you get to the drum machine by going to a website called drumbit.app. Drumbit, drumbit.app. Drumbit.app. So we're going to show you a little bit about this drum machine. You can see it up on the screen there. You can notice on the left-hand side of the sequencer, you have all these different sounds: crash, ride, rack tom, floor tom, open hi-hat, closed hi-hat, snare, and kick. The kick drum is your bass drum. You can also see that there's some number markings along the bottom, 1 through 16, and 4 number markings on the top, 1 through 4. These help indicate the time or how many beats are going to be played by each of these sounds. And you can make a sound just by clicking one of the squares and hear what that sounds like. I'm going to put on my headphones to make sure I can hear it. All right, that's better. Yeah, okay, so we got the kick drum on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. Our controls to start and stop the sound are up here on the right-hand side. And you can click play and hear what that sounds like. So basically what we have is a metronome. So you can hear the sound playing every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually see the beats. This is a really great tool for you to visualize what sounds you want and where you want them. So there's a few other controls. You can control the tempo. The tempo is the speed of the sounds or the speed of the music. So we can click it up to, let's just see how fast it goes. We can click it up to 220. Oh, stop it. Or we can go all the way down slower than that, right? Everyone wants to hear what it sounds like when it's fast. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to make the basic backbeat. This is the basic rock and roll drum beat that you've probably heard your teachers talk about in your music class. And so to construct the basic backbeat, we're going to start with the bass drum. And we're going to actually just put the bass drum on beats 1 and 3. Okay? I should back up and say the backbeat only has 3 different sounds from the set of sounds here on the left. It uses the kick drum, the snare drum, and the hi-hat. and we're going to use the closed hi-hat. So you're going to go kick on beats 1 and 3. We're going to do snare drum on beats 2 and 4. We can hear what that sounds like. And we're at 70 beats per minute, so we're still pretty slow. And then we're actually going to take the closed hi-hat, and we're just going to make a pattern by skipping every other one. And if there are 16 beats total, but I'm only using half of those, I'm putting one in between, what type of note do you think I'm essentially playing? It's if you said eighth note, you are correct. We're basically putting in eighth notes for the hi-hat sound. Now let's hear what it sounds like. And this is just going to play on a loop, very similar to like what a metronome would do. And this is really great if you have another instrument like a ukulele or a guitar or even a piano and you want to play along with it. It can provide that steady beat for you and help you change chords. When you're learning to play the instrument. And actually, once you start playing with the drum machine, you kind of don't want to stop because it feels so nice. Cool. And if I stop, the machine's not going to stop because it's basically a robot. Uh-oh, we're okay. So you always have to remember it's going to keep going. And that's a really good tool to work with as a musician, to learn how to play to a steady beat and to really get that rhythm and timing into your body, into your head. So whenever you play, you can play with good time. So that means, you know, a steady beat without a metronome. So some cool things about this, let's kind of dive in a little bit more, is that you can change what the kit sounds like. And the kit is another name for the drum set. So there are, let's see, there's at least 6 different drum sets. There's a jazz set, a hip hop set, a beatbox. Everyone probably wants to hear the beatbox sound or the dubstep sound or even the effect sound. So this is really fun to kind of play around with and hear what the different sounds are like. But just keep in mind, you know, we could program each of these sounds to be different. We could program the sounds to all be duck noises or all be dogs barking at different pitches, and then we could control that. So there are really fun things that you can do when you understand what drum machines really are. So we can take a kit. We'll go to let's go to kit 1. I was on kit 4, and our drum beat stays the same. Okay, and let's speed up the tempo. What does that sound like? I can kind of slow it down. And what's great is that you can do this live while you're playing with it. So you can add another drum beat if you want. You can hear what that kick sounds like now. That's cool. Okay. Or you can, you know, fill in all of the 16th notes just using, again, just the 3 voices of the drum set. It totally changes the whole feel of everything that we started with, like with a rock drum set. Now it's pretty cool to play with. So just to give you some other ideas, there are some presets on here that you can actually just click and say, I want to hear what a rock 2 sounds like. And it'll change the drum kit for you. It'll change the beat for you. Let's hear what funk sounds like. And of course, you can change the kit sound if you want to change the beat. Hip hop. It's all kind of using the same drum kit. I wonder if I need to change that. Oh, I guess not. That's kit 6. That one's cool. So now you can grab an instrument, you can sing along, you could freestyle, do whatever you want. Let's see if I can make something sound good with this. I don't know. It's very fun to just kind of get into it and to experiment with the different sounds. I really like that beat. I'm going to have to remember that one. That's kit number 6. So if you're looking for that sound and you like that, that's cool. And it's just very surprising because you can try all sorts of different sounds on here. And let's see what the effects are. There might be barking dogs or cats or something. I don't know. So if you know that that's your kit sound and you know that's what it sounds like, you can now experiment. Hear what the kick is. Okay, hear what snare is. What was that? Interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's see what it sounds like when we play all those at the same time. That's a little overwhelming. One of the favorite things of my students that they always like to do is to fill up every single square and then make it go as fast as they can. I'm not going to do that for you. You can do that on your own by going to drumbit.app and testing it out. And please wear some headphones for your parents because you can make a lot of noise with this tool and with this machine. So let's see. So I hope you enjoyed your time here at AASD at Home for making music. We're going to go live every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Please tell your friends and tell your family. These activities aren't just for students, but they are for students and parents to engage in making something and making music. And I hope you really found these tools and demonstrations useful and just kind of fun to build things and make things out of stuff you have laying around. So again, my name's Mark Anderson. I'm the Music Program Curriculum Specialist here at Anaheim Elementary School District, and we will see you next week on Wednesday. Have fun.